All right, Rabbi, good morning. Good morning. Let us begin by thanking all of our sponsors for this morning's share. To thank our TALMUD TORAH sponsor for the month of Teves, Mrs. Selma Woolf, for dedicating all the Shiurim and drushos this month. With immense gratitude for the refuos from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the merit of a refuah sheleima for all of those in need, in the zchus of our holy soldiers, and in the zchus of the return of all of our hostages. Our TALMUD TORAH sponsor, another TALMUD TORAH sponsor for the month of Teves, Leah Sol, as a zchus for the refuah sheleima of her daughter Ilana Bas Esther, for the safety of all of our soldiers and the safe return of all of our hostages to their families. Our week of learning sponsor, Chazzan Mark Childs of Santa Barbara, California, in appreciation for the Daf Yomi and for the refuah sheleima of Binyomin Yankel ben Bela. We also dedicate our learning Le'ilu Nishmas Master Sergeant Michal Harush Hashem Yikom Damo, as well as for the Le'ilu Nishmas Master Sergeant Nital Meizels and Sergeant Rami Tamir and Major Aryeh Ryan, all three precious Neshamas who fell in battle yesterday. We hope that in the merit of our TALMUD TORAH, the Neshamas will have an aliya and their families a Neshama. Firstly, with that, let us begin. So Baruch Hashem, we have a lot to do today. Today's daf, Baruch Hashem, is Nun Gimel 53, and we are picking up in Meretz Hashem on Nun Beis Amud Beis 52b. We left off Tashma, 4 lines up from the bottom. Actually, I left you without resolving the sugya. A little bit more to do today, so we'll finish off one sugya, Meretz Hashem, and then begin a new sugya together. So the Gemara says as follows: Tashma, Nafal L'Socho Shar Cheresh Shote V'Katan Suma U'Mahalech Balayla. So we'll say, remember again, this brisa actually contains a similar quotation from the Mishnah. What happens if you have the following situation? I dug a pit, and a shar that is a cheresh, shota, or a katan, which means just a shar that lacks capacity. Shar lacks capacity. Now again, you'll say stam shar lacks capacity, but this is even a shar that lacks general, like animal capacity. In other words, even animal have instincts, right? Even animals have a certain level of das. So we're talking about over here where the animal doesn't have that requisite level of das. Now, the level of das that we're talking about over here is the ability to avoid a dangerous situation. So you have nafal l'socho, shar cheresh shota v'katan, suma, or a blind shar, or mahalech balayla, or a shar walking at night. Right? So remember again, in all of these situations, the animal lacks the ability to see the danger that is in front of it. Chayiv. Ultimately, again, one is chayiv. So in other words, meaning I, the person who dug the bar, am going to be chayiv. On the other hand, pikeach, meaning a normal shar, or mahalech bayom, or a shar walking by day. This is actually very interesting halacha. And the shore falls into the pit. So Rabbi said, this is something very interesting to contemplate. So in the scenario over here, right, the shar is a normal shar, right, has, we'll quote unquote, like the basic level of shar das, shar intellect, and it's or it's daytime, which means the shar should be able to see the bar in front of it, but nevertheless it falls into it. Pater. Interestingly enough, the halacha is, you're pater. I, the person who dug the pit, and pater. Now, we'll come back to that for just... Actually, let's just focus on this for just a moment. What's fascinating about this, Rabbi Sai? What's fascinating? That, first of all, I'm not sure that this point was ever explicitly made throughout our journeys through Bava Kama. We often have this idea that if you dig a pit and an animal falls in, you're chayiv. What the Gemara now indicates to us is that that's not necessarily the case. Animals are instinctually programmed to avoid danger. And therefore, again, if an animal sees a pit in front of it, under normal circumstances, what's expected of the animal? What says the animal? Walk around. Don't walk into the pit. So therefore, interestingly enough, if I dig a pit and assuming that it's daytime and the animal is quote-unquote a normal animal and the animal falls in, I am not liable for that, the Gemara says. If it's nighttime, or the animal's blind, or the animal is a cheresh or a shota, in those type of situations, I am liable. I will say, tremendous Musar Haskell. What do you see from here? There's muster and everything. What do you see from here? And even animals know to avoid danger. If animals know to avoid danger, then al achas kama v'kama, all the more so, how incumbent it is upon us to avoid not simply physically dangerous situations, but spiritually dangerous situations. Right? How often in life do we allow ourselves to be in situations which are spiritually unhealthy? We allow ourselves to be immersed in activities and exposures that are only going to harm my neshama. Sometimes there are people who I know are toxic. They're not the right influence. Yet what? I walk right into the bar. So Rabbi say it's important to know that when you walk right into the bar, so pretty much the way that, essentially what I'm saying is, I am a blind ox. I'm a blind ox. Because even an ox knows to avoid a dangerous situation. If I can't even get that together in my own life, at least to try to avoid the dangerous situations, I'm a blind ox. What was such tremendous Musar Haskell? If animals know how to avoid the boros of life, the pits of life, then alachas kama v'kama, we have to be awake enough and cognizant enough in life to be able to identify the difficult, toxic, damaging, dangerous situations and do our best to bypass them. So the Gemara says as follows. Who would have thought such musar from a blind ox, right? Who would have thought? Again, it was incredible. So we'll say, now why is this important for us? Someone says, but why should I be pater? Now we'll say, remember again, I really should have finished this yesterday. So remember, we're in the middle of a sugya over here. What's the middle of our sugya? The middle of our sugya is that we were trying to figure out the following situation. If I go ahead and put on my pit a cover that is strong enough to be able to go ahead and withstand an ox, but not strong enough to go ahead and withstand a camel, right? And in a situation where there's camel traffic, right? There's camel traffic. But now it turns out that what? Remember what happened? What ended up happening is no camels came on it, but rather again, the cover rotted. I got a lot of blowback from my rottage. For my use of the rottage word yesterday, but I'm doubling down, right? Right? So again, as a result of the rottage, so what ends up happening is the ox falls through. So the Shai Gemara is trying to figure out is, should we say that essentially, since you're a posheya, since you're negligent in that you didn't put the right cover on your pit, so the fact that you are negligent creates essentially again kind of like umbrella liability for everything, including rottage. So the Gemara says over here, if that were to be true, then in this kind of situation, once I would be liable for digging a pit for an ox that's blind, that's a cheresh, that's a shota, or that it's nighttime, then that should give me blanket liability for everything. Even if a normal healthy ox falls in, I should be liable as well. Rather, what do you see? Elalaf shmamina, lo aminon migo shmamina. Rather, I both say, what do you see from here? You see from here that we don't say migo. What does it mean we don't say migo? We don't say that just because you're negligent in one area gives you complete liability for everything. So I will say, so what that seems to mean is like this. Going back to the Gemara's case, so remember again, we're trying to figure out, do we say that if you're negligent in one area, that essentially makes you liable for anything that happens subsequently? So the Gemara seems to indicate that clearly from this Gemara the answer to that is no. Because if the answer to that was yes, then the truth is, once you're liable for digging a pit, if a blind ox falls in, or a shota ox falls in, or it falls in at night, then you should be liable for all cases. The fact that we don't create blanket liability indicates that halacha l'maisa, we don't say this migo. And Rabbi say, this is indeed how the Rambam paskins as well. So the Rambam writes, listen to this. This is in Perek Yud Beis halacha hey. Hesliya misochav naflu bo shvarim. Af al pisha gimalim mitzuyim sham tameid. V'hariyu poshel ligmalim. Hoil umachma shesliya naflu bo ashvar harizeh pater. So we'll say, this is, listen to the case. And this is really fascinating. I dug a pit. I live in an area where there are oxes and there are camels. Oxes and camels. Which means they're both say, what kind of cover should I be putting on my pit? What kind of cover? Right? Camel cover. Right? That's what I need. Home Depot, camel cover section. That's where I need to be. Excellent stocking stuffer as well. Right? So again, that's where I need to be. That's where I need to be, the camel cover. Now, I didn't do that. Instead, I only bought the ox cover. Now, what happens, Rabbi was saying? It rots, right? The rottage takes hold, and now again, the ox walks on it, falls through. Now, Rabbi say, the Rambam says, I'm not liable. I'm pater. But 1 second, but you didn't put the camel cover on. You're right. But what happened had nothing to do with the camel or not. What ended up happening was a result, ultimately, again, of the rot of the cover. So because of that, is it warm in here? Is it stick of warm in here? Yeah? Okay. I thought maybe it's just me. Good. All right. So, good. Okay. I'm always accused of shifting the. No, it's not. Okay. All right. Fine. Must be getting older. So the Maisa like this. So therefore, the Rambam paskins that halacha l'maisa, we don't hold you liable for that scenario, right? And therefore, again, if the damage is a result of the rot, and the damage ultimately again is not a result of the camels walking through, you're not liable. So that's how he paskins. So just because, in other words, the Migo says once you're negligent in one area, we make you fully culpable in all areas. Halacha l'maisa, the Rambam says, we don't hold of that migo. So in this case, even though you failed to put the camel cover on, so let's go through this. If you failed to put the camel cover on, the camels walked through it, weakened the cover, the oxen then walked through it and fell through, then einachinami, in that case, there would be liability. But assuming that's not the case over here, you didn't put the camel cover on, but that's fine, no camels walked over it, it just rotted, and as a result, ultimately the oxen fell through. Remember also, this goes back to yesterday's daf, that you are not chayiv for rottage of the cover. In other words, that's normal wear and tear. Again, what your liability is for inspecting it, we'll have to come back to. Good, that's talacha. Let's go back to nafal lefanov. So the Gemara says as follows. So halacha, remember again, the Mishnah said that if you're digging the pit and the ox falls forward into the pit, ultimately you're liable. If the ox falls backward into the pit, you're not liable. So says the Gemara, let's analyze this. Amarav, lefanav mamish, the acharav mamish. So Rav says literally again, lefanav literally means it's falling forward, and the acharav literally means it's falling backwards. In other words, Rav says this is a literal understanding. Top of Nun Gimel, v'zeh bebar. And I will say everything ultimately again is happening as a result of the bar. Now I will say it said in Rav Latame, we had this just a few days ago. The Amarav bar, actually just on Shabbos, bar shechayv alav Torah the havlo v'lo v'chabato. Remember we had this machlokas. Rav says, what is it about the bar that causes the loss of life of the animal? What is it about the bar? Ultimately, it's the air. It's the putrid air of the bar. So according to Rav, watch this. When the animal falls forward and dies, then there's bar liability. Why? Because we assume, why did the animal die? It inhaled the air of the bar. When it falls backwards, we assume, why did the animal die? Impact with the bar. Well, impact with the bar is not the bar doing damage. That's ultimately, again, the ground doing damage. Also, remember again, Rav holds that the entire damaging force of the bar is the putrid air that is on the noxious, putrid, okay? I don't know what the right word is. Okay, noxious, putrid air that ultimately causes the animal to die. So we'll say, so that's Rav's idea. That's why the Mishnah says animal falls forward, it's inhaling bar air, that's how it dies. Animal falls backwards, the assumption is death is caused by impact, that's why you're potter. Okay, so the Gemara goes right to Shmuel. Shmuel says, no. Babar, Shmuel says, if the animal dies in the bar itself, whether the animal falls headfirst into the bar or falls backward into the bar, you're going to be chayiv. Why? Shmuel l'tamei, Damar Shmuel, v'chol shekim l'chabato. But Shmuel holds that there are two aspects of the bar that cause the loss of life of the animal. Number one, ultimately again, is the inhaling of the noxious air. And number two, ultimately again, is the impact. Shmuel holds the bar kills both ways. So therefore Shmuel says, were the animals falling head first, in which case maybe it died because of inhaling the noxious air, or it fell backwards, so it died as a result of impact, you will be chayiv. But so here's the interesting part. But the Mishnah did speak about a case where the animal is falling backwards as a result of the sounds, getting startled by the sound of the digging of the pit, and the Mishnah said, you're pater. What's that case? Kegon deniskal bebar, v'nafal achore habar chutz labar. So what's this is interesting. The case could be ultimately, again, where the animal actually falls out of the bar, trips in the bar, and actually trips in such a way where it falls out of the bar and is damaged outside of the bar. That would be a case ultimately, again, of pater. Okay, interesting. So the Gemara says as follows: Eisvei bebar bein melafana bein melachar of chayiv. So Bryce says. So these are fundamental machlokas Rav and Shmuel. So right, and so Rav says in a bar, if an animal falls forward, chayiv, right, because it's inhaling the air and dying as a result of that. Falls backward, it's the impact that's killing it, and therefore you're pater. That's Rav's logic that that bar, the damaging power of bar, is in the unlocking of the noxious air by digging down 10 tfachim. But if the ground itself goes ahead and damages or kills the animal, that's not bar, that's karka. That's karka and there's not liability. Shmuel says, you're chayiv a bar whether the animal dies because of the noxious air or impact. So Rabbi says, therefore, according to Shmuel, the case where the animal is startled by the digging and falls backwards and there's patra, that's actually where the animal falls out of the bar. It trips in the bar and actually falls out of the bar and is damaged outside of the bar. That's where there'll be no liability. Something more is a kasha esvei bebar beim lefan beim la'achar of chayiv. So Brisa says by bar whether the animal is damaged, whether the animal falls in face forward, right, head first, or falls backwards, you're going to be chayiv. Tiyufta de Rav. Shabbos said this seems to refute the position of Rav. Am Rav Chista. So Rav Chista said, Modeh Rav bebar bershuso de chayiv. So Shabbos say Rav will agree. Listen to this case. Rav will agree in the case ultimately again of the bar in one's reshus, where the bar itself ultimately again is in the domain. Right? Let's say I dig a bar and it's in my reshus. Now, obviously, the case over here has to be where I'm mafkir the area around the bar, but still retain ownership over the bar. That's a bar b'shus. We can have a case like that. So Rav says, in that kind of case, even Rav will agree that you're chayiv whether the animal fell forward or backwards. Why? The amar le'mi manav shach. Iba havlamis havla didachu. Iba havatamis chavata didachu. Because I will say when the bar is in reshus hayachid, to understand, the Manashach Rav says, you're right. So if it's the noxious air belongs to me. And if it's the impact on the earth belongs to me as well. Rabba Amar Hachamas, what's the case over here? It's an interesting case. B'mishafech dinafach al abe, v'ishafech v'napal agabe. So we'll say, what's the case here? It's very interesting. The case over here is where the animal is falling, right? The animal is falling. Ultimately, again, and initially it's falling head first. And then it does some gymnastics on the way down in the fall, right? And it ends up turning and falling on its back. Da havla da ahani bay. I will say, since at the end of the day, it fell head first for a little bit, that means that what? It did absorb some of the noxious bar air. And therefore, again, even Rav will agree that even though subsequently it lands on its back, we ascribe its death to the noxious air, not to the impact. Okay, Rav Yosef, Rav Yochi. So Rav Yosef says, Hacha beniske bar b'shar askinan. This is interesting. Rav Yosef says, what are we referring to over here? We're not referring to over here the damage that the bar does to the shar, but rather referring to the damage that the shar does to the bar. Mainihu, what's the case? Shehivish es meimav. The case over here is where ultimately, again, the shar fell in, and the shar caused the water to become putrid. Listen to this. Deloshna lefanov, veloshna li'acharav. Both say in that case, ultimately, again, remember, since it's the shar that's damaging the water, it makes no difference if the shar fell head first or if the shar fell backwards. Ultimately, again, mechayiv, he will still be chayiv. Incredible. So we'll say, so Tani Rav Chananya the Seal Rav. So Chananya, so we'll say, so remember again, what we are embedded in over here is this general machlokes Rav and Shmuel, which we've seen already before, but is now coming to a head. Well, literally, no pun intended. Coming to a head over here in what is the damaging force of bar. Is bar ultimately, again, hevlo? Is it the air of the bar? That's Rav. Or Shmuel. Now, again, I want to point out, Shmuel doesn't disagree that the air of the bar has the ability to kill the animal. He just says, impact also does a doozy, right? In other words, right there, right, a shar falling into a bar, that also can't ignore the impact of it. So again, Shmuel's just adding on to Rav, including Chabad. So what's like? So that's the fundamental machlokes that's unfolding over. So let's go back to it. So Tani Rav Chananya Seil Rav. So Rav Chananya came and wanted to support the position of Rav. V'nafal, remember again, we'll say the Torah itself, when speaking about bar, uses lashon of v'nafal, that the animal falls in. Ad sheyipol derech nefila. One is only liable if the animal falls in derech nefila. I will say, now what's derech nefila? Derech nefila, head first. Right? Head forward, head first. So I will say, what do you see from there? And I will say, so here, watch this. Mikan amru, nafal lefana mikol kriya chayiv, v'achra mikol kriya pata. So from here you see that if the animal falls in head first, you're chayiv. If the animal falls in backwards, you're not chayiv. V'zeh bebar. So I will say, so listen, so what's the idea over here? The idea being that, obviously, v'nafal, so look what's happening. V'nafal means falling in. What's the typical way of falling in? Head first. And I will say, now the reason why this support for Rav is, if it was just a din and impact, So what does it matter how the animal falls in? It's the impact that's killing it. The fact that the Torah seems to be makbi that the animal is falling head first would seem to indicate that what's killing the animal is not the impact, but rather, again, what's killing the animal is the inhaling of the noxious bar air. Amar Mar v'nafal l'fanim mikol hakriya chayiv. So Mar says, even if the animal falls forward, here's what's interesting. Remember, this is also the Mishnah's case. The animal is why is the animal falling in? In the case of the Mishnah, what's causing the animal to fall? The animal is startled. Right? Reuven's digging a pit, right? He's using his jackhammer, and he goes ahead, and the noise startles the shar, and the startled shar, I forgot to mention, by the way, the shir today is also dedicated by Shmuel and Rabbi Karapkin in honor of the birth of a grandson. Right? To the children, to Aaron Nava Karapkin in Monsey, New York. So I'm assuming that's why Rabbi Shmuel's not here. Today is also Mazel Tov to Karapkins. They should be Zocha, Lachniso, Beviso, Sha'am Avinu Bizmano, and the Gadol Torah Uluchupo L'maisim Tovim. So the Gemara says, Va'amai. So I don't understand. In that case, ultimately, again, why should it be chayiv? Nema Kora Garamla. But say, in a case where the animal is startled and falls into the bar, and ultimately, again, dies, so why should it be chayiv? After all, why did the animal fall in? It fell in because it was startled by the guy who was digging. So I will say, so now remember again, the Baal Habar shouldn't be chayiv. Who should be chayiv? The guy who's digging. Maybe you'll say it's the same person. I will say, but even so, the person who's digging, I will say that's grama. That's grama. That's causation. What did we say? What's halacha by grama? Grama by nizakin is potter. So why should anyone be chayiv? I'm saying, but actually, hamani Rabbi Nasani. It's right. So we'll say, who's that being? This is very interesting. It's Rabbi Nasani. We saw this before. We'll say the Amar Baal Habar has zeka ka'avid. So we'll say, because Rabbi Nasani says like this: at the end of the day, right, the Baal Habar is the one who damaged. So we'll say, we're going to see something very interesting. Rabbi Nassan is of the opinion that halacha l'maisa, sometimes, ideally, repayment is supposed to come from one party. But if the repayment can't come from that one party, you have the ability to go ahead and seek it from another involved party. For example, I will say, listen to this. This is very interesting. Shar shedachav es chavero lebar. So I'll say, now watch this. You have a shar that put shar A pushed shar B into a bar. Shar B is dead. Now listen, now watch this. So shar shadachav es chaver lebar, bal hashar chayiv, bal bar pater. So in a case like this, really, the owner of shar A is going to be chayiv, the bar is pater. Right? What's the logic behind that? Because really, again, it's the shar that did the damage, right? Had shar A not pushed shar B, right? Shar B would be, living its best life, be doing its thing, right? So now, again, it's shar A that went ahead and caused this damage. Now watch this. Rabbi Nassan says, Bal hashar mishalim mechza, ubal habar mishalim. So Rabbi Nassan says, no. The shar A pays half of the damage, and the balabar, the owner of the pit, pays the other half damage. Other half. So one second. Vatanya, but we learn Rabbi Nassan Omer balabar mishalim gimel chalakim ubala shar revia. But yet also we learned Rabbi say that Rabbi Nassan says that the owner of the bar pays 3/4 damage, and the owner of the shar pays 1/4 damage. So what's going on? So we'll say. So just want to point out over here. So the Tanakama holds that the owner of the bar is completely pater, right? Completely pater because he didn't do anything. Really, complete liability rests with the owner of shar A. Rabbi Nassan holds, I will say it's machlokes Rabbi Nassan. Rabbi Nassan holds that there's shared liability. The machlokes is what's the nature of shared liability? Is it 50-50? Shar A pays 50%, owner of the bar pays 50%, or maybe owner of the bar pays 3/4, and owner of shar A pays 1/4. The Gemara says that's not a contradiction. Lo kasha habitam habemuad. Very interesting. I will say, if halacha l'maisa, shar A was a tam, then that's the case. Ultimately, again, it'll pay 1/4, and the owner of the bar pays the rest, 3/4. If however shar A was a muad, then shar A will pay 50%, and shar B will pay 50%. So the Gemara says, well, let's analyze this. Ubatam my kasavar. So what's going on in the tam case? What does Rabbi Nassan hold? Ika savar haykule hazeka avid, haykule hazeka avid. So if Rabbi Nassan holds that in reality, Shar A and Bar are equal partners in the damage, so then the Gemara says, Hay mishalim palga, v'hay mishalim palga. Then in reality, each should have to pay 50%. The Hay palga hazeka avid, v'hay palga hazeka avid. And if Rabbi Nassan only holds that, no, the Baal Hashar, Shar A did part of the damage, and the Bar did part of the damage, then if that's the case, Bala Bar mishalim palga, Bar Shar Revia. Then ultimately again, the Bala Bar should have to pay half, and the Bala Shar should have to pay a quarter. And that's another Rabbi said, let them split the damages. V'idach Revia mafsid, and the owner of Shar B will simply lose out on a quarter damage. Rava says like this. Rabbi says incredible. Rabbi says end of second wide line. Rabbi Nassan dainahu v'nachas lo umka dedina. Rabbi Nassan was a dayan, and as a dayan, he was very well versed in the intricacies of the law. Watch this. Kasavar hay kula hezek avid vay kula hezek. So he will say in Rabbi Nassan's model. Watch this. He holds that when Shar A pushes Shar B into the bar, we look at Shar A as fully liable and Bar as fully liable. They're both fully liable in the death of Shar B. Now watch this. If that's the case, so if that's the case that they're both fully liable, then what's Rabbi saying? Then really we should say Shar A should pay 50% of damages and Shar B should pay 50% of damages. Listen to this. Mishum da amar le bala shar la bala bar shut fasoi my ahanisli. Because Rabbi said, listen to this. Because if we would make Shar A pay 50% and Shar A is a tam, so we'll say generally as a tam, what do you pay? Chatzi nezek. So I will say if you're going to make Shar A pay 50% Chatzi nezek, the full Chatzi nezek essentially as a tam, then the Shar could say to the Bar, then you're not my partner. In other words, if you're really my partner in the damage, then you should offset some of my liability. If I have to pay a complete 50%, then Lamaisa, you're not my partner in liability. So Rabbi Nassan said the truth is, Shar A has a valid point. So therefore, again, Shar A, because the Bar was involved in the damage, Shar A only has to pay what? Quarter damages, reflecting the fact that without a partner, right? Again, remember, had Shar A done the damages himself, he would have been chayiv for 50%. Chatzi nezek. Now he has a partner, so that partnership offsets his liability to 1/4. Now, here's what's interesting. Then what do? Then we go ahead and we shift the half and remaining quarter over to the balabar. To which the Gemara says, the other possibility ultimately is that maybe Rabbi Nassan holds that we view ultimately again Shar A is doing part of the damages and Bar is doing part of the damages. Bala bar mishalim palgu, bala shar mishalim revia. Vidach revia if nafsit. If that's the case, so then I understand. So ultimately, again, so the Bala Bar should have to pay Chatzi nezek, right? 50% of the damages. The Bala Shar should have to pay a quarter, because that's the partnership. But we'll say then the remaining quarter should just be a loss to Shar B. Why does the remaining quarter get shifted to the Bal Habar? Both says it's incredible. Mishum da Amarle, Bal Hashar la Bal Habar, because remember again, the owner of Shar B can say to the owner of the bar, Ana turoi bibirach ashkachise. At kalatse, my diisle l'shtalum mehech mishtalamna. My delestin l'shtalum mehach mishtalam mimcha. So it is incredible. So ultimately, again, at the end of the day, it's very powerful. At the end of the day, so the owner of Shar B could say to the owner of the bar, listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. My Shar is dead. And where is my Shar dead? Where's my Shar dead? In your bar. See, here's the deal. If you have the ability to recapture some of the damages from another party, gig is unto hate. Go for it. But whatever you can't recapture from another party, you're on the hook. Because at the end of the day, my Shar is dead in your bar. So we'll say, so therefore watch this. So according to Rabbi Nassan, in a case, so let's play this out. Right? So now let's play the whole thing out over here. So according to Rabbi Nassan, let's go with the Tam case, because that's the easiest case. Well, not the easiest, but that's what the Gemara is using. So right, Shar A is a Tam, pushes Shar B into the pit. What is Shar A liable for? Half, Chatzi nezek. However, Because Shar A has a partner in the damage, therefore again, Shar A's liability is diminished, reflecting the partnership. 2, quarter damages. Technically speaking, the Balabar, what is the Balabar on the hook for? What is he on the hook for? 50%. Because remember again, he did damage in partnership with Shar A. So therefore again, he's paying 50%. Shar A ultimately again is paying 1/4, which leaves what? 1/4 of damages outstanding. Rabbi Nassan's chiddush is, who is on the hook for that additional quarter? The Balabar. The Balabar, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, the owner of Shar B can say to him, listen, my Shar is dead in your bar. So whatever you could recapture from the owner of Shar A, go for it. But whatever you can't recapture, ultimately again, it's on you. Incredible. And I will say that is the position of Rabbi Nassan. So I will say what I will point out over here, remember, is we still have our fundamental machlokes between Rav and Shmuel about the nature of bar. The Rambam paskins like Shmuel, Hamas like Shmuel, that bar ultimately again damages in 2 ways. It damages through its hevel, it damages ultimately again through its noxious air, and also damages through impact. So the reason why that's important is because if an animal falls into a bar, we paskin, whether the animal falls head first or the animal falls backwards and dies in the bar, or is damaged in the bar, there's going to be liability regardless, because halacha l'mais we pass like Shmuel. Okay, a couple more bar cases. Amar Rava, very interesting case here. Hiniach even apia bar, ubasha v'niskaba, v'nafal babar. Listen to this case, Rabbi Say. Listen to this case. I left a stone in the Rosh Hashanah. And what happens? Reuven's animal is walking, trips over the stone, and falls into Shimon's bar. So see what's happened over here? Right? So what's the halacha? So the Gemara says, Banan l'machlokes Rabbi Nassan v'Rabbanan. So Rabbi said, this is the machlokes, Rabbi Nassan the Rabbanan, right? Because ultimately again, Rabbi Nassan holds that there be shared liability, and ultimately again, the Rabbanan will hold there wouldn't be shared liability. Look at Rashi for just a moment. Banan l'machlokes, last 2 lines of Rashi, the Rabbanan bala evan chayev du garam kol nefila. According to the Rabbanan, I, the one who placed the stone, I'm going to be liable because I caused this entire situation. Without my stone, the animal would have never fallen into the bar. So therefore, again, I, the owner of the stone, am fully liable. According to Rabbi Nassan, there's shared liability. So the Gemara says, Pshita. Okay, that's kind of obvious. So Matem Ojo thought, Hasam Huda Amar Bala Barla Bala Shar. So we'll say, I would have thought maybe in the previous case, so we'll say, remembering always the previous case, Shar A pushes Shar B into the bar. So I would have thought maybe in that case, Amar Bala Bar Le Bala Shar Ilav Bira Didi TORAH Dida Chavakatale. Because we'll say at the end of the day, I would have said maybe in that case, the reason why the Rabbanon exempt the Balabar is because the Balabar could say to the owner of Shar A, had my pit not have been there, your animal, right, Shar A would have gored and killed Shar B. So my pit didn't really do anything. Aval hacha matzi amrle bal evan balabar. But over here, the owner of the stone could say to the owner of the pit, Ilav bira didach, were it not for your pit, avna didi my hava avdi. What would my stone have done? You have a miskaba. What's the worst that could have happened? Right? What's the worst that could have happened? Right? The animal would have tripped. Right? So we'll say, Ihav miskabe, have enough of a kite. So we'll say ultimately, what's the worst that could have happened? The animal would have tripped over the pit, over the stone, and what? And Allah Lamaisa would have just gone ahead and gotten back up. We'll say, by the way, another tremendous musar from a shar. We'll say, what does a shar do when it trips and falls down? What does a shar do? It gets back up. And we'll say, if a shar ultimately again knows how to get back up in the aftermath of tripping, and we'll say that's a shar without an neshama like ours. That's a shar without intellect like ours, but a shar instinctually understands. You trip, you fall down, you get back up. Allah has kama v'kama, will say us. We trip, we fall. Sheva yipol tzaddik. Even the tzaddik falls down multiple times. But what does the tzaddik do? The kam. The tzaddik gets back up. So the great danger in life is falling down and staying down. And what a musr. Even a shar knows, you don't stay down once you trip. You dust yourself off and you get back up. If it works for a shar, and a shar knows it instinctually, then how much we have to govern ourselves with that same principle as well. Incredible. So the Gemara says this house, Kamash Malon, da Amarle, Ilav Evan lo hava nafal abira. No, because Rabbi said at the end of the day, the owner of the pit could say ultimately to the owner of the stone, were it not for your stone, ultimately again, if it were not for your stone, the animal would have never fallen into the pit. Okay? So I'll say, so again, it's the same machlokas. It's the same machlokas. So you see over here, what you have over here is, the Rabbanon really look, they assign complete liability to kind of the first party, right? So again, in the previous case, it was the owner of Shar A. In this case over here, it's the owner of the stone. Rabbi Nassan really is the one who goes with this joint liability model. Itmar, we'll say, Itmar, Shar, the Shar Psulei Maktashin Shenagchu. It's an interesting case over here. So you have two shvarim, two oxen. So you have one regular Shar and a Shar of Psulei Hamukdashin, which gored another Shar. Now we'll say, what's the example of Shar Psulei Hamukdashin? Ma'inu Shar Bechar Delo Parekle. This would be an example, ultimately, again, I will say, of a firstborn Shar, of a Bechar Shar that was not redeemed. Rashi says over here, Bechar Balmum She'in Bar Pidyon. It's a Bechar animal that is blemished, that is not capable of being redeemed. The Cheben Dela Bar Pidyon Hu Lo Nafik Mikidusha Kamaisa. Because ultimately it's not been redeemed, therefore it's never left its initial kedusha. Hilchach Shar Hektish Karinabe. Therefore, I will say it's called the Shar Hektish. Now, I will say we're going to see, by the way, what's unique. Remember, we saw this before. What's unique about any animal that's called the Shar Hektish? What's unique about it? If it gores, it's not responsible, and if you gore it, you're not responsible. So watch this. Shar v'shar b'sulim v'ashanachun. I will say in this case you have a tag team, a regular Shar, right, and a Hektish Shar, or I should say, right, we'll call Shar b'sulim v'ashan, which is also a Hektish Shar, that gored. So we'll say, what's the halacha? What's the halacha? So Abaye Omer, Mishalim Chatzin Ezek. Abaye says, ultimately, again, you still have to go ahead and pay Chatzin Ezek. Ravina Omer, Mishalim Reviya Nezek. Right, Ravina says, ultimately, again, you pay quarter damages. So the Gemara says, Hava Habitam, both are talking about a tam case. Ha Kirabanan, Vaha Kirabi Nasan. And I will say, again, referring to two different opinions. One is like the Rabbanon, right? One is like the Rabbanon. And one is like Rabbi Nasan. Look at Rashi for just a moment. So the Gemara says over here. So Rashi says, first of all, so actually, Kirabanon, Reviya Nezek, Hol V'yesh Bo Shotaf, V'zeh Yochel Ishtarim, Minakot Shim Yafsid. Fine. So we'll say, reflective of different views. Ibai saying, another possibility is, Hava Ha Kirabanon, both are reflecting the view of the Rabbanon, Habitam, Habemuad. And one is talking about a case of a tam, and one is talking about a case of a muad. Okay, look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says over here, Tarvayi Kirabanon, Betam Reviya Nezek, Hol V'yesh Lo Shutaf, Umuad Chatzi Nezek. So remember again, the tam case will be a case of quarter damages. The muad case will be a case of half damages. In both of these cases, Rabbi say, remember again, the chulin animal doesn't have to pay the full amount. Why not? Why not? Because it has a partner. Right? Because there's someone else involved in the damages. Okay, so the Gemara says, Ikeda Amri. Good. Ikeda Amri, an alternate version of this. Abaye says, Chatzi Nezek, Ravina Amar Kulin Nezek. Abaye says you only have to pay half damages. Ravina says you have to pay complete damages. Ha v'ha b'muad. Both are talking about a muad. And Abaye says, how do you describe the differences? Hakrabanon, v'akrabinasan. So both say we keep on lapsing back to the same previous machlokes. Ibai, so the other possibility is ha v'ha kirabinasan. Both are affecting the Rabbi Nasan, Habemuad, Habitam. Ultimately, again, one is Selma Woolf, one is Harush. So we'll say, so again, we now just have three different illustrations of the machlokes between Rabbi Nasan and the Rabbanon. Right? Ultimately, again, number one case is Shar A pushes Shar B into the pit. Number two case is animal trips over a stone and falls into the Shar. Number three case is two Shvarim, one ultimately again of Chulin, one of Hektish, that ultimately gore a third Shar. Okay? All the same machlokes, just illustrating the same machlokes in three different ways. Beautiful. Amar Rabba. Rabba says as follows. So we'll say another interesting case. Shar vi Adam shedachvu labar. This is very interesting. So now watch this. You have a shar and an Adam and a person who push together, right, who damage together another shar by pushing him into a bar. It's good collaboration. Now she says over here, Shar v'Adam shedachvu davar echad labar v'nintu shloshtan shutfin b'nezek hashar v'abar v'Adam. So we'll say now, what's incredible about this case, right? So you've got Ruvain, Shar A, pushing Shar B into Shimon's bar. So now both say Shar B dies. Now we have 3 people involved in the death of Shar B. Who are the 3 people? Number 1, owner of Shar A. Number 2, Ruvain. And number 3, Shimon, because it was Shimon's pit. Incredible. So I'll say, so now the child is going to become, how do we assign liability? Here we go. So it says the Gemara, Le'inyin nezikin kulan chayavin. So when it comes to damages, everyone meaning Ruvain, owner of Shar A, and Shimon, owner of the bar. Look at Rashi. Le'inyin nezikin, Rashi says, Kigonim dachfo sham adam v'huzag, Mishalman ben kulan pach as damav du kulan chayav beniske adam da kaimalon legabe bar shar v'lo adam. Now I will say, by the way, also Rashi points out this could be a case ultimately again of where they're pushing a shar or where they're pushing an adam. In other words, you could have a case of where Shar A, Ruvain are pushing a person into the pit of Shimon. Right? So in that case, again, let's say it was a person who was pushed in. So in that case, all the parties involved, Shar A, Ruvain, and Shimon, will all be chayiv to share in damages. So nezikin, everyone's chayiv. Le'inyan arba dvarim. Now once again, remember, if it's a person who's being pushed in, so remember again, anytime you damage a person, remember we spoke about this before, there's those additional buckets of damage, right? Sheves, ripui, right? Sheves, ripui, boshes, and pegam. Nezek tsar, ripui, boshes. Sheves. Got it. Thank you. Right. Excellent. Good. Right? So I will say, so remember again, if you have the arba, it's only calling it arba devarim, right? Because remember again, we kind of, nezikin is dealt with separately. So the addition, so assuming that we're talking about a person who was pushed into the bar, so ultimately again, even arba devarim, udmei velados. So now what's dmei velados? Dmei velados would be, let's say they went ahead and pushed a pregnant woman there, and she miscarried. So in that case, ultimately again, adam chayiv. So we'll say, so remember, the person who participates ultimately again will be chayiv. So remember, shar ubar pater. But shar and bar ultimately again will be pater under those circumstances. Linyan kofer. So we'll say, what about for kofer payments? Ushloshim shal ebed, or the 30, right? Again, we'll say the shloshim is the knas payment. Ultimately, again, for the death of an ebed. So it's the halacha. Shar chayiv, shar will be chayiv, right? Adam ubar pturim. Ultimately, again, Adam and Barapata. So we'll say, so we're just going through, just again, we've seen all these halachas before. Linyan Kalim, we'll say, what happens if, let's say, for example, again, the shar was carrying utensils, and the utensils broke as a result, ultimately, of falling into the bar. Linyan Kalim, Ushar, so the Gemara says, Linyan Kalim, Ushar Psula Magdashin. Sorry, Linyan Kalim, the shar Psula Magdashin, or I will say, for that matter, again, halacha lamaisa, the shar that was pushed in, let's say it was a shar Psula Magdashin, Adam v'shar chayavin, man and shar will be chayiv, bar pater, and bar ultimately again will be pater. Why I will say this is actually very interesting. Now dafka I will say, they're talking about a case where let's say the shar they pushed in was a shar of psulei mukdashin, which means a shar that was consecrated but can no longer be offered. Why is there no bar liability in that case? Interesting. Amakra v'hames ihiyah lo. We'll say the halacha by bar, the way the Torah frames the liability of bar is Baal HaBar Yishalem Kesef V'Shil Ba'alov V'Amesihiyah Lo. Now we'll say this is actually very interesting. We spoke about this a little bit, right? Whenever an animal falls into the bar and the bar dies, so the Torah says that the owner of the bar is obligated to go ahead and repay the damaged party. V'Amesihiyah Lo. Now the way the Gemara is understanding over here is V'Amesihiyah Lo means what? The owner of the bar keeps the carcass. Now, that interpretation is subject to dispute, as we're going to see in just a moment. But for now, we're going with that idea that he gets to keep the carcass. So what do you see from here? Lememra, the Shabbos say, now what does that teach you? That teaches you that there's only bar liability, meaning the owner of the bar is only liable when? In a case when he gets to keep the carcass. But in a case where he doesn't get to keep the carcass, what would be an example of a case where he doesn't get to keep the carcass? Where the animal was consecrated. In the case where the animal is consecrated, I will remember again, even after that animal is dead, that animal still retains sanctity, and therefore is unable to go ahead and the carcass is unable to be used. Because the carcass can't be used, therefore again, the Gemara is suggesting that would free the owner of the pit from liability as well. Remember, the Pshita Rava. So both say, so is that to understand that according to Rava, that's how we interpret that phrase, V'amesielo, that the owner of the pit gets to keep the carcass, and there's only pit liability in case you get to keep the carcass. V'hami by the Rava. But this was a kasha posed to Rava, they buy Rava, shar psulim mikdash shnafal bar mahu. According to Rava, if you have a shar, that's psulim mikdash that falls into a pit, what's the halacha? What do we say? So the Gemara says, Hy'd v'amesielo. Do we interpret that phrase of v'hamesielo to mean that there is only bar liability in a case where you get to keep the carcass? O dilma v'hamesielo lebailim metaplim b'neveluda. So we had this before. We'll have to stop with this today. But remember we had this before. There's an alternate interpretation. What does v'hamesielo mean? What's the other possibility? What does that mean? What that means, v'hamesielo means that ultimately, again, the owner of the cow, or the owner of the ox, is obligated to what? To deal with the carcass. And as Rabbi said, remember again, there is money to be recaptured from the sale of the carcass. But who's responsible to deal with that? And remember again, in the case of a bar, there's an added issue, which is what? Extraction. So who is obligated for extraction and then subsequent sale? So some say v'amesielo means that the owner of the animal is obligated to do that. So we'll say, so you see over here that Allah Lamaisa, there is some level of dispute about what to do with that passage. All right, so I'm going to leave you a little bit on the cliffhanger over here. We're kind of stopping right in the middle of that, but Amirat Hashem, we will resolve that interpretation. Amirat Hashem, first thing tomorrow morning. Go weiter from there. Bosai, shkoyach.